1880. James Mill. Presently, in relation to the time, flanked by 1806 and 1818, James Mill wrote a series of volumes on the history of India, and this work had a formative power on British imagination in relation to India. The book was entitled History of British India, but the first 3 volumes incorporated a survey of ancient and medieval India, while the last 3 volumes were specifically in relation to the British rule in India. This book became a great success. It was reprinted in 1820, 1826, and 1840, and it became a vital textbook for the British Indian civil service officers undergoing training at the East Indias College at Haileybury. By the 1840s, the book was out of date, and in his comments, its editor H. Wilson pointed that out in 1844 oars in the book, but the book sustained to be measured a classic. Mill had never been to India, and the whole work was written on the foundation of his limited readings and books by English authors on India. It contained a collection of the prejudices in relation to the India and the natives of India, which several British officers acquired in course of their stay in India. Though, despite shortcomings from the point of view of authenticity and veracity and objectivity, the book was very influential for 2 reasons. One of these reasons is often recognized. James Mill belonged to an influential school of political and economic thought, the utilitarian inspired by the philosopher Jeremy Bentham. As a utilitarian exposition of history, Mill's History of India was also at the similar time implicitly a utilitarian agenda for British management in India. The other cause for the immense power the book exercised has not been recognized as much as one might have expected. This book perfectly reflected the cast of minds at the beginning of the 19th century, which we have noticed earlier, a cast of minds which urbanized in the wake of Britain's victory in the Anglo-French wars for hegemony in Europe, and Britain's rising industrial prosperity. James Mill broadcast a message of confident imperialism, which was exactly what the readers in England wanted to hear. Mountstuart Elphinstone. While James Mill had produced a utilitarian interpretation of history, a rival work of history produced by Mountstuart Elphinstone is harder to categorize in conditions of philosophical affiliation. Elphinstone was a civil servant in India for the greater part of his working life, and he was distant, better equipped, and better informed than Mill to write a history of India. His work History of Hindu and Mohammedan India Universities, and was reprinted up to the early years after that century. Elphinstone followed this up with History of British Power in the East, a book that traced systematically the expansion and consolidation of British rule till Hastings management. The periodization of Indian history